So today we'll just complete the seventh chapter. That is chapter 7, Cubism, Surrealism and Abstract Art. Okay, this is our pending chapter. Okay, so can somebody read the text for us?
I'll read, teacher.
Yes, please go ahead.
Cubism, Surrealism, and Abstract Art. Cubism is a style of painting and sculpture that began in Paris in about 1907. It was the most important trend at the beginning of 20th century. Cézanne was the pioneer of Cubism. He said, everything in nature must be treated as a cylinder or sphere. The important artists included Picasso, Braque, and Leger. They particularly chose subjects like still life, landscapes, and portraits, and the motifs in their works were broken up into small parts. The aim was to give importance on construction but not the emotions. The purpose was presenting the form, not richness of color in terms of geometrical shapes. Forms became increasingly abstract and generalized. By 1920, this art moved came to an end. This art movement came to an end. Surrealism was another movement which started in 1924 and continued till 1955. The Surrealist artists tried to use the images of the unconscious in their works. The Surrealists considered themselves representatives of new outlook, mainly influenced by psychoanalysis. It originated as a revolutionary movement resulting from the Dadaist revolt. Giorgio de Chirico and Salvador Dali were the most famous surrealist painters. Abstract art is a general term for non-representational art, an art from that rejects the depiction of the contemporary world in a realistic way. It started in the year 1910. The pioneers of abstract paintings are Kandinsky, Delaunay, and Mondrian. They tried to give a pictured form to depict abstract ideas which is not possible to represent in a realistic method.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so here the difference between Cubism, Surrealism and Abstract. So what is Cubism? Cubism is basically to uh, dissect any form into geometrical shape. That's it. It is broken into small parts, okay, as per their geometrical shape. Suppose it is a figure of a human being. Now, what did they see in the figure? Instead of a round face or a oval face, they saw either a rectangle or a hexagon or some geometrical form, okay, and that is how they painted it. So we'll see the other pictures of cubism, so you will understand what exactly it is. Then surrealism. Now surrealism is basically painting the unconscious, painting the uh, weird, like something that sometimes you see weird dreams. Now these artists, they wanted to put in together whatever was unrealistic, it was just in the subconscious or maybe something dreamlike. Okay, so that was surrealism. And abstract art, as we already know, that any particular form, okay, suppose it is a lotus. Now, instead of making a realistic painting of the lotus, there was just an impression, just a abstract form of the lotus, and that could be anything. Okay, so we will just have a look at the different artists and we will understand their art form. Okay, someone else who can read Now this is the Cubism painting, Man with Violin, which was done by Pablo Picasso. He was the famous Cubist artist. Okay, so here the man, the violin, they are all completely broken up. So it is difficult to actually make the form, understand the form. First of all, this print is also not very good, so I have better pictures. You'll see the PPT later. So it's completely broken into geometrical forms. And that was the whole idea behind Cubism. It did not show the emotions. It was just forms, and it did not even show much of color. Okay, man with violin. Anyone else who can read this for me? Farana, Safia Ved, Sakleen, anybody?
Ma'am, from Pablo Picasso, right?
Yes, you can start from there.
Okay. Pablo Picasso was born in 1881 in Malaga, Spain. He was a painter, sculptor, and ceramist. Throughout his long
Ceramic,
career, Picasso
ceramic artist. Go ahead.
Throughout his long career, Picasso followed the principles of abstract composition. He was highly influenced by symbolism. He developed his own style in Paris during his Blue period, 1900 to 1902, named from the blue-green tone of his canvases. Picasso developed his Rose period in 1905 to 1907. In this period, he used mainly pink color in his paintings. After this period, his works were influenced by the African artifacts. From 1915, Picasso developed his Cubist phase, which made him famous world over. Cubism is basically the breaking of three-dimensional forms into flat areas of pattern and color, overlapping and linking so that shapes and parts of the human body or objects are seen from the front and the back at the same time.
Yes, go ahead.
Man with Violin was painted in 1912. It is a fine example of analytical cubism. Objects were divided into parts depicting different viewpoints at the same time. Like any other painting of this period, forms and are recognizable, but broken down into cube-like forms. Picasso tried to use space in a new way. The human form holding the violin is broken into various geometrical shapes and then arranged together. The colors used are typical of this period, using the shades of brown and green. Most of his paintings during this period were made with similar technique and colors. In this painting, there is a continuity of form and color. For him, reality had a different definition. He defined reality in a sense more real than that of nature. His brilliant and unusual way of handling paints and other materials made him most admired artist of the 20th century. His one of the best work is Guernica, based on Spanish Civil War.
Thank you, Sakleen. Okay, now I'll just share the PPT and show you a little bit of Picasso's work. So, what is the blue period and what is the rose period? It's basically the use of colors, the colors that he had used during that time. Okay, and then after that was the African artifacts. So he had made paintings influenced by the Africans, and then after that, from 1915, he started developing Cubism. Okay, so this is the blue period when he painted essentially monochromatic paintings in the shade of blue and green, only occasionally warmed by other colors. These somber works inspired by Spain but painted in Paris are now some of his most popular work. This is the Rose period, where he has painted mostly in pink color. He has used cheerful orange and pink colors in contrast to the cool, somber tones of the previous blue period. The Rose period marks the end of the development in which Picasso finds his style as a figurative painter. Now, this is a phase where he has painted African forms, African period, which lasted from 1906 to 1909, was the period when Pablo Picasso painted in a style which was strongly influenced by African sculpture, particularly traditional African masks and art of ancient Egypt. In addition to non-African influences including Iberian sculpture and the art of Paul Cézanne and El Greco, the Proto-Cubist period following Picasso's Blue period and Rose period has also been called the Negro period, the Black period. Picasso collected and drew inspiration from African art during this period, but also for many years after it. So this is just, so when you read about it, Blue period, Rose period, African period, so you know exactly what you're reading. Now this is Pablo Picasso and this is some of his work. If you see, the first one is the man with the violin here, and the second one here below is some figure which is distorted. And what they mean by cubism is both all the sides of the figure, okay, whether it is a body or if it is a violin, all the sides are shown in the painting. They are broken down and they are shown together in a cubism form. Okay, so that was cubism, an idea about what cubism is. Now the next artist is Salvador Dali, and this is his painting Persistence of Memory, and his style of painting is surrealism. Okay, Farhana, you can go ahead and read this paragraph.
Salvador Dali is the most famous surrealist painter. He was a Spanish painter, filmmaker, and writer. He adopted highly realistic technique. He continued with his practice of drawing, which he had mastered in his youth while studying. After a brief period of experimenting with form, he used his drawings to depict the world of absurd, unusual, strange elements. Persistem- Persistence of Memory, painted in 1931, is a fine example of surrealist movement. The bare landscape and calmness depicted in his paintings could be regarded as life after all wars, after all humans have died. The only object in the painting that give life and which can be associated with people are melting clocks. In this painting, the melting clocks look very realistic and create the sense of disturbed mind, which we all see in most of his paintings. Dali's own style was academic and precise, but his subject matter was from his dreams or nightmares. The unconventional group of objects in Dali's pictures has a symbolic meaning. These soft watches create new and unpleasant images and scroll over another as they would over rotting food. Their forms create a jewel-like ornament covering the watch's surface. All his paintings create a different kind of pictorial language. None of Dali's paintings represent reality. They look as if nothing more than a few objects here and there which are out of place. Though he was a great artist with talent and imagination, he had a way of doing
Just a minute. Yeah.
he had a way of doing unusual things to draw attention to himself, which many a times have annoyed those who loved his art as well as his critics. His eccentric theatrical manner was as prominent as his artwork and attracted a lot of public attention. He died in 1989 and left behind him fantastic works such as Villa Bertin, Large Harlequin, Small Bottle of Rum, and Honey Sweeter Than Blood.
Okay. Let's have a look at him. Okay. If you just have a look at his face, his face itself tells a lot of things. The expression on his face. Okay, so even in the description, it is shown that this painting showed a disturbed mind. So this is the painting which he has done, persistence of, what is the name of the painting?
Persistence of memory.
Yeah, persistence of memory. Okay, so this is his painting. This is more clear picture. So here you can see that the clock, actually it looks very real, as if actually the clock is melting and it is slowing down. Okay. Now, what is surrealism? Was a cultural movement that developed in Europe in the aftermath of World War One, in which artists depicted unnerving, illogical senses and developed techniques to allow the unconscious mind to express itself. So basically, he just wanted to pull attention to himself. So maybe he created such weird paintings. Now, just have a look at these paintings. Okay, though they look beautiful. Now, in this last painting, if you see, that's him, Salvador Dali himself. And look at the way he has, you can see the legs of this lady, which is holding the um, balance, and the balance is actually the eyes. Okay, and she herself is shown as a bird as well. And below that is a bull. The horns are in the shape of the mustache of, uh, exactly like how he used to keep his mustache. So it's fantastic, like if you can put all these things, you can actually imagine so much and put it all together. I think it's a work of a genius, but it also shows a mind, a disturbed mind. If you see the first painting here, the skull, okay, the expression itself shows that it is disturbed. Okay, the painting in the middle, somehow I found it very beautiful, like the eye which is crying, and it, the teardrop is in the form of a swan, and the water collected is forming into a pond. uh, it's difficult for us to actually interpret what he wanted to show, but at least you can understand a little bit. So I found the center painting the most beautiful, and even this lady who is holding the moon. So everything is so unreal. It's like a dream, and that's what he wanted to show in his paintings. Okay, let's go to the next artist. Okay. Who else will read? Satyadev will. Yes, please go ahead.
Title: Black Line, medium oil on canvas, date December 1913. Size 4
4 4 by,
comma 3,
yeah,
4 by 3,
4.3 inches into 4.3 and 1 4.
3,
That's okay.
1 by 4.
That's it.
Artist Vasily Kandinsky, collection Solomon R. Gun Guggenheim
Guggenheim
Museum, New
Museum.
York. Guggenheim Museum, New York. General description: Vasily Kandinsky was born in 1866 in Russia. He was a famous painter and art theoretician of his time. Kandinsky is one of the founder figures of abstract painting. He laid the foundation for non-representational art in his three important series: Impression, Improvisation, and Composition. His works were combination of abstraction and geometric. He wanted painting to be abstract like music is. Accompanied contrast, yellow accompaniment, angular structure are some of his great works. His works had an enormous influence on the next generation of artists. Black Lines was done by Kandinsky in the year 1913. As the name suggests, the lines look as if they were put on with Indian ink, but actually black paint was used. In this composition, a group of lines in a particular corner had a different meaning according to the arrangement. Like the painting of this period, like other paintings of this period, his work showed simplicity and pure diagrams, as the skeleton had no flesh on it. The colored spots look as if applied by fingers of a giant hand and not brushes. They go well with the line and its effect. Kandinsky's line shapes and colors have their own meaning and function. Ma'am, can you take it this side because I can't see afterwards function. Now what's there after function? Ma'am, that is the rat. The Julia.
Teacher, your mic is on mute.
Sorry, I've been reading away. Okay, so the last para is for Kandinsky, line, shape, and color all had their own meaning and function freely within the area. In most of his paintings, lines are sketchy and look as if they have lives of their own. He spent last part of his life in Paris where he died in 1944. That is the last para, okay? So something very interesting about Kandinsky which I would like to share is that he could hear music when he saw color and uh, forms like different colors uh, made him hear the music, and when he heard the music he could think of colors. So it was music and color were combined for him. So when he would paint, okay, so certain colors would produce certain kind of music in his mind, and sometimes hearing certain music he could start painting with certain colors. So there was a relation in his mind. Painting and music had a relation, and that is the
And
kind of artist he
this
was.
guy Vasily Kandinsky.
Yes, to just share some of his work. Okay, so he is the artist. Now, in Looks on the Past, he relates that the houses and churches were decorated with such shimmering colors that upon entering them, he felt that he was moving into a painting. This experience and his study of the region's folk art, particularly the use of bright colors on a dark background, was reflected in much of his early work. A few years later, he first like, likened, to, likened painting to composing music in the manner for which he would become noted, writing, "Color is the keyboard, the eyes are the hammers, the soul is the piano with many strings, the artist is the hand which plays, touching one key or another to cause vibrations in the soul." Okay, so for him, music. So he was a music composer as well, and both of these things were related in his mind. Okay, so the first painting, if you see here, the concentric circles, that is how he has painted. He was listening to music and he has painted this. This one here is the black lines. This painting, along with his picture, is the black lines which is described in the book. Okay, so every form and every line, it was like music to him. And the last painting, if you see, this was what he meant by saying that when he walked into certain places where the vibrant colors, he would actually feel as if he's walking into a painting. So these are some of the genius artists and their genius work, completely different from the regular, and they have made a name. Okay, now the last one paragraph is still remaining. Let's finish that, and then we will just see the FAQs. Okay, can anyone read this? Yes, anyone. You can repeat if you like.
I'll read it again.
Yes, go ahead.
Pioneers of contemporary Indian art. At the beginning of 19th century, under the influence of the British Raj, Indian art displayed a general decline. The craft and techniques of fresco and miniature paintings,
Sorry,
which were
just a minute.
unique.
Hold on. I think we have gone into the next chapter only. 1 second. There is just one last paragraph to this chapter itself. Okay, here again it is cut, so I'll read it for you from the textbook. An important phase in the Western art began with the foundation of abstract art. Other art movements followed, and there were a continuous change in understanding art. We find the influence of abstract art in works which cannot be related to realism. Any work which is non-representational is considered abstract art. Though abstract art, Cubism, and Surrealism originated in the West, it left a deep impression on Indian artists and greatly influencing their many works. Vasily Kandinsky, Salvador Dali, and Pablo Picasso have left remarkable works for the future generation of artists as an inspiration. Though they represented important phases in these new movements, they remained very individualistic. His work showed the distinction from realistic work of the earlier period. Cubism originated along the lines of abstract art, and Picasso became famous for his Cubist paintings and sculptures. His works showed different periods, and each period was very distinct from the other. Dali, who had a very interesting and unusual life, was the most famous among the Surrealist painters. The beginning of the phase of abstract art starts with the work of Vasily Kandinsky. Okay. I hope you all have your textbooks with you and also your guides. We'll just have some time. I'll just show you that just just study the frequently asked questions. Don't Okay, these are the frequently asked questions of this chapter, and study only these. I'm sure you all have your 5-year papers with you, the Lincolns at least. So you have your 5-year papers, art papers. Hello, Lincolns.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So just do the frequently asked questions, okay? So I have just written down the uh, questions which are there in the 5 years. Okay, that's it. Do those questions and that will be enough for you. Okay, now another thing, from next week onwards, uh, every week, let us just do the question, frequently asked questions of each chapter. Okay, so we will be just learning. I think after your exams only we will be able to do it. Okay, so at least we will just learn the question answers. Are you all okay with it? Have you all done any of the revision of the work of art, theory of art? Any revision, anything? Do you have any doubts? Lincoln's. Okay, Safia, now you tell me. Have you?
Um,
Yeah, Farana. Yes, Farana.
I mean, I don't have any doubts, but I'm revising.
Okay, you all are revising, right? Okay, so
Yeah,
just do the frequently asked questions. Okay, don't get into too much details of it, and we will just keep revising now. And one more thing which I want to share with you all is last week we had done the figure drawing. Okay, that was the last which we had done. Now I'm going to share a few pictures. I will just put it up on Google Classroom today. I'll share those pictures with you all. Just practice those figures. Okay, use those figures and make your artwork. Have you completed your practical submissions? Your TMA was submitted yesterday, right? All of you?
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So that was your first step towards your boards. Okay, so now the next one is you will have to do your practical. Do you have any other practical to submit along with arts? Any other subject practicals?
No, ma'am.
So only arts. Okay, and that is I think the end of January you have to submit. One second, let me just share those pictures with you before we end the class. I'll share this PPT as well so that you know the frequently asked questions here. And these are the few figures, just and that's it. Okay, don't bother too much, don't go into too much details. Figures can be small or big. Important is that you need to have human figures. Okay, Okay. So here are some figures. Some of them are easy, but I'm just sharing all of them with you so that you have an idea what you want to do. Okay. Now this one was where there are dancing figures. So if you want to make a composition which has dancing figures, you can choose one of these. Then sports, we have sports here. Okay. Then again, the village scene or the market scene, you can use these. Again, sports, village, then play, rainy day, regular, in village woman, a farmer, somebody cleaning the house. So these are very common figures which you can practice. Now, all you have to remember is the proportion and just pick up the figures from here. I've shared a lot of them with you. Just pick these and make your uh, four paintings. You have to make just four paintings. So there's a baby here also, and there are children playing. So everything is there available. It's just that now you can just make your own compositions. Okay. So uh, on this Thursday, the coming Thursday, I would like to see your practical work. Okay. And as well, you also have your exam. And now exam, I don't expect you to make your painting on that day. You can make your painting previously and just show it to me on that day. Okay. So all are aware what you have to do. Yeah. So you have to make a flower painting. Okay. So that is related to nature. Okay. So you can use a flower, your actual flower. You can buy a flower or pluck a flower, whatever, and make a painting, or you can even see in a picture and you do it. That is again going into your submission. Okay. So that is one of the nature painting that you're doing. And the linens, please, I would like to see all your 12 artwork on this Thursday. Is it possible? Okay. Lincoln.
Ma'am, you are, yes.
Okay, great. Have you completed any? I don't get any reply from y'all. How many have you completed up till now?
Ma'am, should I show you?
Yeah, if you have it, great. I would love to see.
Yep. Ma'am, give me a second, ma'am.
Yes.
I'll get all my paintings.
What about the rest of you? Rest of the Lincolns, how many paintings have you completed up till now? Farhana, Sakleen, Ahmed. Yes, anyone? Yeah, you will have to, your virtual background, you'll have to remove.
Ma'am,
Yeah, that's nice, Safiya. Great.
then this with the help of my sister I made.
That's lovely. Very nice.
Then I put it in a file, ma'am, the other painting. I
Okay.
used the previous year, like all the paintings which are there in my house, I used them for this.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Then this, I use Zainab's painting also for nature, ma'am.
Okay.
Then even this,
Okay, this is abstract. Very nice. Very well done. I
then
like that.
this,
Okay,
then this,
great.
then this.
Okay, but this is for what? This painting is for what?
Man, I forgot. I'll
Yeah.
send it to you. I forgot.
See, because there is object drawing, there is one nature drawing. Okay, then one is the composition, and one is freehand drawing also.
Then this,
Okay, yeah, this is object.
then this,
Okay, this is the Bohemian feather. Okay, this can be used as a freehand drawing. Great.
yes. And this was drawn by Zainab. I used it like that only. And then this one.
Okay, this can be used as an abstract art. Okay,
Yeah.
and what about the rest? Farhana, I'm sure you have done paintings.
No, ma'am. Mine is left.
You still have to do. How many do you have to do?
I'll have to say that.
Okay. So just remember, we have, I think, 12 paintings to submit.
Okay.
4 of each, 12 or 16. 4 of each 4 topic, right? So, yeah, so one is the Varli folk art. So Varli or Madhubani, you can combine and make 2 of
So,
each.
ma'am, just 1 minute. So for
Yes.
Wali, we have to make 4 paintings.
So Varli and see, folk art is one topic, right? So Varli,
Yeah.
you make 2 of Madhubani, okay? And mention it. Mention it behind where you're writing your name and everything. And then for the object you can make, just sketches of object also. If you make, it's good enough. Okay, and some of them, so 2 you color and 2 you keep it as a pencil shading, so you have a variety. An object, again, you can use any object. You can use a cup, or you can use a combination of things kept. Okay, I'll do that, Hemant. I'll do that. And then the other one is nature. We've already have posted the video of the this thing, bougainville. Okay, so the next week you're going to make another flower painting that will be added in your nature. Okay, you can even make something like watermelon is the easiest fruit, believe me. So you can just try doing that. Make a watermelon, or a capsicum is also very easy. Okay, so these 4 can be combined for your nature drawing. Okay, object is done, folk is done, and the last one is uh, this thing, the compositions, right? The human compositions. So that I have sent you a lot of pictures to copy from. Just copy any and make one composition, and you can present it. So 4 of the paintings you have to make of that. And one more, I think, freehand drawing. So make freehand drawing also. We have done that. It's very easy. Freehand is just uh, something like Madhubani and this thing, Varli. Okay, so that will also be a sort of folk art only. But in that, you can, like, how Safiya has used the Bohemian feather. You can use something like that also for the freehand. You can make a freehand peacock. So there are a lot of things. Freehand flower, lotus, anything. Okay, so make 4 of those also. So I'll put it up on Google Classroom. I thought you all already have seen it because it was there in the NIOS syllabus, no? Practical submission. Anyway, I'll put it up. So just complete it, and next week try to bring as many paintings as possible, because end of this month you have to submit those. Okay. So the easiest are the freehand and the Varli and Madhubani. Just do that, complete that. Okay. So I'll see you next week. Bye, all of you. And even the Tagore, you also start doing now, so that it is easy for you to submit next year. Okay. So I'll see
Okay,
you
teacher.
on Thursday. Okay. Bye bye, all of you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye bye.